Welcome back, everybody. Good to see you all here once again. Today we have a very special guest, Clinq Gold's CEO and founder, Mr. Nick Patel. Welcome, Mr. Nick.
Hey, good evening, Clinq. How are you? Lovely to be here. Thanks for having me on.
It's great to have you. So, before we begin, could you introduce us to yourself and also the team behind this amazing project?
Sure. So my name is Nick Patel. I'm the CEO and founder of Clinq Gold. Clinq was actually incorporated in 2021 during, actually just after the year after the pandemic. One of the reasons I launched this company was I realized being in the gold business for a number of years, my core business, I'm also the CEO and founder of Bank of Bullion, which is one of the premier companies that supplies physical gold, not only to the gold souks of Dubai, but we also supply physical metal internationally as well. So my idea was to create a digital twin which replicates the same value and storage possibilities and the upside and the security that we get from physical gold. Now, in itself, in the gold business, I've been around 20, 25 years. I started in the late 90s as a stockbroker. I later moved to buying mines and concessions in various parts of Africa and South America. So, that's where I sort of picked up the industry over a number of years. And during that time, I managed to bring lots of physical gold into Dubai. And in 2016, I incorporated the Bank of Bullion, which is still going strong. And one of actually the team members or the board members on Clinq Gold is also one of the founder members of Bank of Bullion. And let me just touch on one of the major things with raising a gold-backed stablecoin such as Clinq Gold. Most people in the world think gold is easily accessible, but if I put it in a metric, the amount of gold that sits in the whole world is 2 Olympic swimming pools. So if I want to give you that vision to make it even easier, it's 2 A380 Airbuses and about 1.5 A380 Airbuses full of gold. That's all the gold in the world. Okay.
That little.
So yeah, it's incredible when you think about it, because most people consider that gold is it's a dense, it's a heavy metal, it's easily accessible. But I as a business, we do around 100 kg, 150 kgs a day. So, revenue wise, it's in the millions. But, the difficulty in sourcing that much gold on a daily basis is very difficult, which is why I say stable coins, certainly stable coins backed by gold, is the ultimate money. We can't print it, we cannot replicate it, and we certainly don't have the ability to add zeros at the end of it just to expand monetary policy, like you see a lot of governments doing at the moment, printing dollars, printing sterling, printing euros, etc., etc.
I see. Well, yeah, it is very interesting. And where is the team sort of based out of? Is it international? Is it more focused on a certain area in the world?
So the majority of the team are based in Dubai. Myself, one of my other team members, Chaitanya Shah, who was also the founder of Bank of Bullion, he's also in Dubai. Nilesh Ketan, who is one of our core team members, he's also based in Dubai. But just give you a little bit of background first on all of them one at a time. So Chaitanya Shah, he was working for one of the biggest metal distributors for a number of years in Dubai. We met off chance 7, 8, 9 years back. And I said to him, look, you have a great base of people that let's get together and raise a new business that gives people access to gold at better levels, better pricing than everyone else in the market. And, we can expand on that later internationally. So that's how we incorporated that business relationship, which to this day is running very successfully. Nilesh used to be primarily, or before he was with Microsoft, then Venmo and PayPal, and he was responsible for launching their crypto divisions. And one of our main team members, obviously the Chief Technical Officer, Roman Semko, he comes from certainly very good pedigree, over 20 years in the industry, both a financial background and also a background in technology. So that builds up our core team, and that's what we rely on to make sure that all the checks and balances are in place.
I see. Thank you so much for that explanation. And very nice to meet you. And could you explain to us a little bit more on the project itself, Clink Gold, and what it does?
Sure. So Clinq Gold is basically digitizing mankind's oldest asset. If you look at the transactions over a millennia, it's only in the last 400-500 years we've been convinced to use paper money. Now, paper money as it stands is fiat currency. What is fiat currency? It's a promissory note from any of your respective governments that they will bear the cost of whatever you're buying in terms of goods and services. Now, what you have to understand is real money, when it existed in the paper form, was disbanded in 1971, what was known as the Bretton Woods system. Now, at the time, I believe Nixon was the president. They had a load of debts globally that needed to be settled, and they had to disband the Bretton Woods system, or the gold standard as it's better known, to make sure all the payments were made. Now, what's happened, and this is probably one of the biggest problems we'll realize probably in a couple of years or later on in history, that when you disband the dollar against what was actually holding its true value, which was physical gold, and then your governments are left unchecked to print money for the last 50 years, what do you have? You now have bits of paper that are literally, in my opinion, just held with a promissory note from the government. Now, tomorrow, the government, as they've been doing for the last decade and a half, issuing new currency ever since the 2008, 2009 financial collapse.
Yeah.
What did most governments around the world do? They printed money.
Yeah.
They printed money unchecked. They continued to print money. And recently, through COVID, they figured, okay, to stop the economy collapsing, let's print some more. Now, it surprises me that we're still surviving.
Exactly.
And to me, I don't understand. And my background is also as an economist while I was at university. But the bottom line is this: if I started the world tomorrow with $1 trillion, and over the last 50 years I introduce another $50 trillion, which is actually backed by nothing, what have I done? I've just devalued my purchasing power. I've raised the price of goods and services, obviously inflation, and I've possibly brought on, which could possibly happen, the collapse of our world reserve currency.
I see. Yeah, it is very, logical that gold is one of the things that you have preferred. But why gold? Like, why not any other metal?
So gold is one of the most simplest, and it holds its value. If you want to consider, to back a token by silver is very difficult. Now, we sell both gold and silver. The physical weight of 1 kilo of gold, it's about the size of this phone, actually a lot smaller than this and probably thinner than that. So when you consider a kilo of gold, which is a dense metal, the weighting is very different. Now, you take a kilo of silver, it's slightly thicker and it's bigger. So what you're going to get is, in terms of storage and the cost, let's figure the cost, because a kilo of gold is around $64,000 right now, and the equivalent in silver is a couple of thousand, if that.
I see.
It's a completely different ball game. So if you're going to store something that's valuable and you have a vault, you cannot. That vault has to be massive if you're going to start filling silver blocks, because that same silver block you'll have to fill 30 or 40 times the same amount of gold.
I see. Thank you for that informative explanation. And before we move on any further, I just want to show everybody of the main website of Clink Gold, clink.gold, guys. The link is being shared in the chat as well. Please make sure to check out this amazing website. You can check out CNQ and also to buy gold right here. Definitely check out the white paper. It is very informative. I have checked it out before the stream, but I definitely suggest you guys do as well. And also you can access their socials, of course, from right here. Make sure you do that. Let me put it on the screen before we continue as well. Here is the main Twitter account of Clink Gold, at Clink Gold, of course. Very simple and amazing. They are constantly posting updates there, very active on social media, so I highly suggest you guys check it out. And also, please make sure, if you have any questions or anything in mind after the AMA, join this amazing Telegram channel. They have authorized personnel ready to answer your questions if you have anything stuck in your mind. So yeah, the links will be shared in the chat. Thank you so much, guys, and let's switch right back to our AMA. All right. Thank you so much for waiting, Mr. Nick. And how can players earn money with Clink Gold, and how can they do like what can they do with your token basically? Is it available and tradable?
So we're listing on Bitmart in the next 10 days or so. I think it's the 13th that we've already agreed with Bitmart. Bitmart is a top 20 exchange, so a very decent start. Post that, we'll be looking for bigger exchanges and ultimately Binance before the next 6 months, once everything's up and running. But in terms of earning, we have some wonderful concepts. One of the things that we introduced, you remember the Pokemon games back in the day? Do you remember
Of
Pokemon?
course, of course.
Everyone remembers Pokemon. And you know, one of the good things about Pokemon, it loads of children, loads of adults as well were walking around looking for the geolocations where they could pick up the Pokemon, right?
Yeah,
So what we've done with Clink Gold, apart from the fact that you can use it as a stable coin, as opposed to perhaps some of the other stable coins out there, because ultimately, remember one thing: if you're using a stable coin, you're relying on that stable coin to hold its value. And if you've seen some of the other stable coins pegged to the dollar, USDC, USDT, BUSD, sometimes they lose their peg. I'm not saying there is any issues, but realistically, it's a run on the system. People withdrawing, etc. Now,
definitely.
if you back that same token with physical metal, it creates a lot of stability. And what we have decided is we created a character known as Mr. Goldfinger to enhance that vision and to show people what is possible. So, in the same way Pokemon Go used to pop up in geolocations all the world, you actually see our character, Mr. Goldfinger. If you visit our website or join our whitelist, etc., you'll actually see the character and be able to play the game. But effectively, Mr. Goldfinger will pop up in geolocations all over the world. You have a chance to hit him. If you hit him, he'll regurgitate some coins and you'll win whatever he's managed to scoop up from all the other players that have missed. So, perhaps you've thrown a zero point zero 0.01 of a token, you've missed. He'll go to another location and he'll pop up again. So every time he pops up at new locations, depending on how many players have missed, all those tokens collected will go to the player that hits him. So
I
it's very
see.
exciting.
Okay, and that's
Yep.
that's very exciting. But is it the same amount that you throw each time the coin, or can you choose the amount that you want
You
to
can choose
receive?
the amount.
And then I'm guessing that the more amount you choose, the higher likelier you become to hit him.
Exactly. So algorithmically, whatever you throw, it'll increase your chances of obviously hitting Mr. Goldfinger. Correct.
I see. I see.
But just let me touch upon that same concept. So we have Mr. Goldfinger in the real world, in your shops, in your stores, in various locations. Like we're doing a pilot next week in Zambia, where we're launching in the University of Zambia. There'll be approximately 2 to 4 thousand students over 2 days. And he'll be all around the campus. Students will have a chance to interact and hit him. But ultimately, my vision is slightly, I'm looking a couple of years ahead. Now, right now, the metaverse is coming up. There are lots of good players out there. And ultimately, my thought process is simple. Mr. Goldfinger should appear in all the metaverses. For instance, any fashionable brand or a car manufacturer that also has its presence in the
Hmm.
metaverse. And if we can put Mr. Goldfinger inside any of their locations, I'm sure, absolutely certain, it'll probably increase the traffic of people visiting that particular store in the metaverse. So not only will we be able to push traffic into that specific shop or specific area in the metaverse, but also the people that are going there will have the chance to win the tokens, which obviously gives those who have got already a presence in the metaverse a lot more presence, a lot more traction. So yeah, the idea is very simple: to have as many people use Mr. Goldfinger, whether they just want to play or whether they want to put it in their stores to increase the traffic into their own businesses.
I see. Yeah, it is very amazing, and I think it's a win-win situation on that for everybody involved. And yeah, one thing that I want to congratulate you on is that the gold idea is actually very important, and like even the most stable economies that you've mentioned are prone to collapsing eventually. Maybe something horrible will happen, even USD or the euro can collapse, but this gold makes it safer for everybody. So yeah, you guys have heard it right here and now. Mr. Nick is talking about it. It is a great opportunity for you guys to have something trustable and secure. So definitely check out that link being shared in the chat. The link for their Twitter is being shared right now. Give them a follow. They're very active on social media and you don't want to miss any of their announcements. So thank you so much for that, guys. And let's continue with our questions. Now, I want to ask a little bit about partnerships. Who are you currently planning on partnering with, and who will hopefully join Clinq Gold in the future, maybe?
Okay, fantastic. So right now we have a partnership, obviously, with one of the biggest vault operators in the world, at security companies, Brinks. Apart from that, Bank of Bullion, which is one of the other companies I founded, and yeah, I'm also the founder of that company. But the relationship with the Bank of Bullion is absolutely critical, because let me give you an example. There's a couple of other players out there that have a similar concept of a gold-backed stablecoin, right? But one of the things I've realized, like for instance, I'll give you an example. There's a company based in the US, a gold-backed token, but they collect money in the US. They buy the gold from London under LBMA, which is known as the London Bullion Market Association. So they're vaulting in London as well, which is the most expensive vaulting center in the world. So the dynamics, the economics of that is rather wild, to put it mildly. Now, we purchase or source our metal from various parts of the world, but ultimately, a large proportion of the gold in the world actually ends up in Dubai. So the economics of the purchase price that we pay is a lot better than most, which means we pass that discount directly to the client by giving them gold at the spot price with a very little increment, which is obviously the gas fees and our charges for transporting it into the vault. The other part is the vault in itself is held in Dubai because it is actually one of the most secure countries in the world, with one of the most stable governments in the world, and they're extremely business friendly and crypto friendly and very forward looking. So, yeah, in that sense, there's a lot of security there as well.
Yeah.
One of perhaps if you also look into the fact that in terms of security, moving gold through a country like Dubai is very easy. There's little or actually no crime. I won't say no crime, but very little crime.
Yeah.
The security levels are very, very high. If I give you an example of our offices in Dubai, we are regulated by the Securities Industry Regulatory Authority. We're licensed by DED, which is the other relevant license provider. But just in terms of the security for moving gold, our offices are monitored 365, 24/7 by the Dubai police. Everything is recorded, every inch of not just that building, the whole area, and most of Dubai actually
I
is
see.
is is pretty much under a camera. So the security levels and the comfort that people should get is immense.
I see. Yeah, I didn't know it was to that level, with Dubai. I knew
Yeah.
that, crypto was popular and there are a lot of conventions going on, etc. But yeah, that gives me assurance. But unless you have nothing shady going on in the company itself, then it's all good that there is security. It's actually a bonus. So yeah.
So, like in terms of like Dubai, in terms of crypto, in terms of the crypto friendliness, we have Crypto Valley, we have uh, various initiatives that have been run by the government. There's another initiative to introduce blockchain over the next few years into all the systems. So yeah, it's a massive change, and that's one of the reasons partnering with the likes of Brinks, partnering with the likes of Bank of Bullion to make sure I always have a ready source of gold was very important. The other major partner I have, and this was one of the biggest deals we've done so far, is the United African Blockchain Association. Now, these guys are representing or in charge. It's a non-profit organization, but their business or their MO is to educate the African continent on blockchain. And to date, they have already educated 300,000 plus people. I think the total is now 326,000 people. Now, we signed an MOU with them early January this year. Actually, I'm here in South Africa meeting them to do a launch in partnership with them in Zambia next week.
Amazing.
But effectively, what they've, the MOU is to onboard all 300,000 of the people they've already educated in blockchain to start using our Clinq tokens. So, from a zero, we suddenly have, we're just in the process of doing the onboarding, the whitelisting, but, before the end of this year, we expect to have the 300,000 on board. One of the other partnerships we're looking at is, and this has not been crystallized yet, so you'll be the first to hear about this.
Ooh.
But we're meeting the Smart Zambia government next week. Smart Zambia is similar to any smart initiative by governments in the UK, where they digitize all processes. So vehicle registration, license registration, bills, anything government related, passports, etc. And the idea is to incorporate Clinq as a payment system through the government. So instead of going bottom up, going top down. So we start with the government introducing the payment system. So any government-based systems are using Clinq stablecoins to make payments, and slowly expand from that to the rest of the economy, which we're actually already working on. So these are some of the exciting avenues we're working on. I don't want to go so far and tell you more about some of the things we're doing in South Africa. We'll leave that for another day.
I see. All right. But it's very exciting. It's a lot that is happening in such a short amount, and it's hopefully going to be very effective as well. So I wish you the best in South Africa.
Thank you.
You guys have heard it. Yeah, it's very exciting. Definitely, the hype is at the right place right now. Thank you so much for your kind words as well, guys. If you have any questions right now, I am taking notes whenever I can. So make sure that you shoot them in the comment section. Thank you in advance. But if you have any questions left, you can also go to their socials. Keep that in mind. And yeah. For example, one question from the chat directly: what makes your project unique from other crypto projects? Is one question that I just saw right now.
The simple answer to that is most crypto projects, they have a lot of volatility built into it. Why? Because you're relying on the volatility to create the profit. With Clinq Gold, we're a stable coin in essence, but we also have a share token known as CNQ. Now, if I just give the dynamics of the business over the last almost 2 years, 19 months, we launched in 21 from a zero standstill. And because we're in the gold business, we used around 100 of our existing clients within the gold souk and internationally. And in our first year of operations, we did over $300 million turnover. Okay. Apart from that, we managed to turn up. We managed, but it sounds like a lot in the gold business. It's reasonable. We also turned a profit in our first year of operations. So a lot of crypto projects, they come with these great ideas of, changing the world. Our idea is simple. The world is already changed. All we're doing is bringing back the real money system to make sure that as the world is changing, you have actual value for money in everything you're buying in goods and commodities. Because if you consider, Clinq, over 100 countries right now are already moving into central bank digital currencies. Yeah. Ultimately, these same governments have printed money. Now they will create as digital wallets, and they'll be introduced maybe 6 months, 12 months, 2 years, 5 years. Who knows? That's another side of the story. But ultimately, notes and coins in circulation will be obsolete. Okay, that goes without a shadow of a doubt. But are we going to rely on the same, various countries and governments that have made lots of mistakes and printed or had the ability to print money to pay off debts? Now, when it's the CBDC, what stops them adding another zero to the end of the algorithm? We haven't actually solved anything. But I cannot print gold. I cannot manipulate gold. I can only show you the gold's in the vault with our audit trails, with Brinksy Audit Security Company, with our auditors, the top 3 auditors. And the idea is to, make it so transparent that, it actually should replicate real money, and which it's doing. So if you want to compare a crypto, which is based on a wonderful idea, or looking at something that is dynamic that could change the world, like I said, this is very simple. Old money, digitizing mankind's oldest asset, and the CNQ tokens will be the underlying share tokens that will benefit from hopefully the rise of CGT tokens, and that's how we'll maintain profitability in CNQ as well.
I see. Thank you so much. It's amazing to listen to you. You know, it soothes my ears. And one thing that I want to ask before we continue, you said you're like affiliated with Bank of Bullion from beforehand, and could you tell us a little bit more about that? Because I maybe didn't catch, you know, what was your relation with that?
So I'm the founder of Bank of Bullion. Bank of Bullion was incorporated in Dubai in 2016. I'll give you the history of that. It's a really quite a wonderful story. We started it with a very small investment of give or take around $100,000, which at that time was about 2 kilos. Today, we was rotating that 2 kilos, buying 2 kilos, selling 2 kilos, buying and selling. And today we're doing 150 kgs a day, which is somewhere in the region of anything between 6 to 8 million or $69 million daily in sales. So that business was created to provide a service where physical metal, real physical gold bars are available to international investors or traders or to large jewelers at a better price than some of the other players that were out there at the time. And if you consider the biggest or the most highly regulated and stringent is the London Bullion Market Association. So, these buyers were buying gold at the most expensive rates, basically paying way over the market price because they had to export it out of London. They had to pay for the stampage of the London Bullion Market Association bars. And in Dubai, we have the same regulatory authority. We have the Dubai Gold Standard, but the Dubai economics is better because some of the taxes, some of the laws, some of the ways in which the Dubai government has built a very strong economy and a welcoming economy for people, traders, industry, and certainly people who trade in gold is absolutely phenomenal. So they've done a great job to make sure that the economics of the gold business is viable in Dubai. So yeah, that's one of the main key components of the difference that we have.
I see. Yeah, many countries do a lot of things differently, and definitely I can see that you know saw the opportunity with Dubai and made amazing things with it. So kudos to you. Thank you so much. And I
Thank
want
you.
to ask a little bit about the project's release date. When will it be released? Can you share us, where you are at the moment in terms of development?
Yeah, so everything is fully developed. We're actually listing on Bitmart on the 13th of April. I just had a text. So yeah, you'll see our token CGT will be available on the 13th of April on Bitmart. You can buy any volume using any of the pairs that are already available. You can buy directly through our site. Again, with crypto, any other payment methods, bank transfers, or any other option that is available on the site. So yeah, the tech is ready, the background is ready, everything is ready to go. We're just in the process of doing some marketing as I'm speaking to you today, and various other launches we're doing, not just in Africa, but also we'll be doing in Europe very shortly as well. We'll be attending a load of events between May and June and July in April, May, June, and July in Europe as well. So yeah, everything's good to go. You'll see us very soon on the exchange.
Okay, thank you. I'm very, very excited to see what will happen, and so many updates coming in a short amount of time, guys. Definitely stay excited, and if you don't want to miss anything, there are a lot of opportunities with this. Please make sure to click the link being shared in the chat. I cannot emphasize this enough. You need to, be active and following things if you don't want to miss anything like this, which is, a great opportunity right at your feet. It's brought to your feet. So thank you so much for that, guys, and let's continue with our questions. So I want to ask a little bit about the future plans a little bit more. What's on your roadmap? Can you tell us more about the distant future, for example? What about even later on in the future?
Absolutely. So my immediate goal or my ultimate goal is to stand against all the biggest stable coins out there, the likes of USDT and all the others. The reason I think ours should be more successful than others is very simple. We've not changed what money should be. We've not relied on any one currency that can be printed, and we've made sure that we've kept everything in this business simple. Now, I see so many companies in the industry, whether it's gold backed or this or that, they try to complicate the whole situation by creating, algorithms in the background, leverage positions to manage their buys, and everything that I see in this industry, and certainly over the last few years, what it requires is simplicity. Technology is good, but when you try and overcomplicate it, that's when problems come. So if you're running algorithms to settle your purchases, or you're buying physical metal through leveraged trading platforms to settle the volume of gold that you have to buy, that's when the problems start. So this is one of the reasons I always keep it very simple. And like I said, my vision is very simple. Over the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years, we want to be the stable coin, the go-to stable coin, because ultimately, if you can, if you understand the value of money, if you understand the risk of paper money, if you understand the fact that all governments very soon, 100 already in trial, will be going into central bank digital currencies. You'll have the option whether you transact in that government's CBDC or whether you use Clinq as a payment system. Now, why you should have an option is very simple. I'm not saying this is going to happen, but I'm saying if you look in the next 3 to 5 years,
Yeah.
let's assume I'm a diabetic with high blood pressure. Yeah, the assumption is, and I'm not saying this is going to happen. I'm just, thinking out loud. I now have a digital wallet with my AED or my dirhams since I'm in Dubai, or if I'm in Europe, it'll be the pound. But in any case, I go to the store and I want to buy a can of Coke and salty peanuts, as an example.
All right.
The can of Coke may not, I might not be able to purchase that can of Coke, but I can buy the Diet Coke because it's okay since I'm on diabetic medication.
Exactly.
So, the people are not thinking that far ahead yet, but you've got to be able to understand one thing. Once CBDCs are in place, that means every transaction that we do, everything we do will be scrutinized and monitored. It'll all be on blockchain. It won't, I doubt it's going to be available for the world to see, but you do want to be able to make purchases of goods and services. You do want to be able to save your money, the most important factor, in something that I cannot print. And as I've said many times, you cannot print gold. You can only have what's in your vault. So you can only issue the tokens or the gold that's in your vault, and you can only issue the relevant or the equivalent tokens.
Yeah.
And my feeling is, over the next few years, when the CBDCs come, ultimately all hard assets, gold, real estate, property, classic cars, paintings, watches, perhaps, all these items will suddenly go up in value. Why? Because now there is no second economy where you can purchase it with cash. That's
Right.
gone. So all these items now will become more valuable because now you cannot transact without having your public ledger available to the world.
Yeah. And yeah, you're saying like it's only a feeling, and you cannot be sure. But considering your background being an economist and all, and also your experience with the Bank of Bullion, for example, and all the experience in the crypto market, well, it makes a lot of sense that these are actually informed guesses in quotes, of course. So yeah, it makes sense that what you're talking about. Creating gold has been impossible for ages. People have been trying ever since, but it's not possible. You cannot create gold. So thank you for that answer. It's very explanatory. And I want to ask a little bit about asset coverage. And is there a guarantee of asset coverage with Clink Gold?
Yes. So Every time a purchase is made of one Clinq token, if we have to mint a new token, so let me give you an example. Somebody buys $10,000 worth of CGT. If it's already in the exchange, then you're buying from the exchange. But if those tokens are not on the exchange, we have to mint the tokens, which means the exchange would send funds to us. We would then use the funds to purchase the real physical metal from the Bank of Bullion. The Bank of Bullion will then tell the auditor, these funds have come in. Can we now make the purchase of this X amount, $10,000 worth of physical gold? We then have to make a report that goes to Brinks, which is the security company which holds the vault. They will then come and collect the physical metal. It then is transported to what's known as the DMCC, the Dubai Multi Commodities Center. And inside that building, they have the vault, which is probably one of the most secure buildings in the world. But that's the process of physically lodging the gold. Now, there is the process of the transaction coming into the exchange, the funds coming into Clinq, sent over to the Bank of Bullion to make the physical gold purchase. Bank of Bullion reporting that to the auditor mentioning it to the security company. So there's a lot of checks and balances. Now, in terms of the security in the physical vault, everything is 100% insured by Brinks, who I also believe is covered by, I think it's Lloyd's of London.
I see. Thank you so much for that assurance as well. Guys, you've heard it. While we're at it, let me just display to you the main website once again because it is being shared in the chat still. Please make sure to head on here. You can see it on your screens right now. Check out what the partners are, what the roadmap is, what's the white paper talking about, and also check out the app itself. Please make sure to do it. It is very interesting. I have checked out the main website myself, but I highly suggest you go and look at it in detail. It is brilliantly designed. And yeah, check it out. It's very informative. If you have any questions left after this AMA, you can get a lot of them answered just by the website. But if you still have your questions even after looking at their amazingly designed website, you can check out their socials. Telegram is right here on the screen as usual, and also their Twitter right here, Clinq Gold. Please make sure to check them out and follow like I have so you don't miss anything. Thank you so much, and let's continue with our questions. All right, let's see. So, how about audits? How is Clinq Gold being audited in Dubai, for example?
So we had our first audit in 2022. We are just in the process of recruiting one of the top three auditors because, myself as a businessman, I also realized, in our first year of operations, we used a local auditor who's actually government approved. But he's not, the top three. He's not a Price Waterhouse. He's not Anderson Consulting or anything like that. So even I understand, as we've grown exponentially as a company, we're switching our auditor to one of the top three. On top of the regular audits that we'll have from the top three, our vision is to actually publish those on a monthly basis. The reason for that is simple. Every month, whatever the minted tokens is, we want to be able to show the exact amount of tokens that were minted to the exact amount of physical metal available in the gold. And I think that's a very important thing to do because anything can happen in a year, 6 months. But I feel if we can do that on a regular basis, on a monthly basis, so we're always getting a check and balance saying, hey, you've just sold 100 million of CGT tokens. But hey, great, you have $100 million worth of physical metal in the vault. Great. It just gives everyone that level of security. And certainly myself, if I was buying into CGT, I'd want that same level of security. I'd want to know there's a top three auditor. So yeah, those layers should be completed in the next 2 to 4 weeks. The other audit was probably the security audit, if most crypto guys or crypto owners would know, is the CertiK audit, which does a technical audit on Clinq Gold and basically our infrastructure, our technical infrastructure, to make sure that there's no loopholes, there's no gaps that offer anyone the chance to sort of break into our systems.
All right. Thank you so much for that explanation. And I want to ask right now about exchanging CGT tokens for gold. How can people do it? What is the process? every single thing concerning that. I think
Okay,
you've just explained it a little bit, but still, with more information would be great.
sure. So in terms of exchanging for physical gold, it's possible in the UAE, certainly in Dubai.
I see. All right.
The problem lies if you're trying to, like for instance, if you're based in US or Turkey or any other part of the world, I would have to send you physical gold. Now, to send physical gold, the security, the dynamics, the economics is not viable. So I'd have to charge you for that on top of the metal, which makes the transaction for CGT very expensive. So realistically, if you wanted to convert CGT into physical metal, you're more than welcome. We have all the gold available in our offices in Dubai. But globally, it'll be easier either to switch into fiat or accept, another stable coin and do an off ramp with one of the other centralized exchanges.
I see. Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense. It is a heavy metal, it's hard to ship. But maybe, people can get a trip to Dubai and, get in person with the
Oh yeah,
gold.
see, the gold souk of Dubai is very famous. It's very beautiful. You'll see not only physical gold in bars and coins, but you'll see jewelry pieces made. I mean, whole dresses made of gold.
Wow.
So it's worth coming just to see that. And yeah, if you want to come to our offices and pick up exchange your CGT for gold, great. I might be there, and you'll catch me as well.
Hopefully, we'll see. All right. Thank you so much for that. And I want to now switch to a little bit of community questions that have been, stacking up. Uh,
Mhm.
One of our users has asked, where do you see a Clinq Gold project in 3 years? But we've already, answered that a little bit, so I might skip it if it's okay with you. And
Mhm.
let's see, what else is here? Um, are you planning on being listed on different, marketplaces other than DEX?
Absolutely. We want to be listed in as many places as possible, make us accessible to as many people as possible. And we already had some types with some local banks as well. So I'm actually speaking while I'm in Africa to a number of banks as well. And the idea is rather than, some people don't understand the crypto landscape. They don't understand you have to go here to make this purchase. But some of the deals that we're doing in the background is giving banks the option. Okay, if your client needs to buy gold, instead of you going out there buying physical metal, taking the risk of storage and all the rest of it, why don't you just bridge that transaction? We'll do it through our system, give them Clinq tokens, which has the exact equivalent weight in physical metal. So one Clinq token equals one real gram of gold. And banks are very favorable to the idea because they've realized now they can buy gold from me at a better price than the market, because obviously we have the supply chain and our economics are better. Secondly, we've taken away their storage. The fact that we already have a vault, our storage cost doesn't go up anymore. It's very, very minimal because the space is already allocated. So we've improved their profitability, their availability of the physical metal, and their storage. So yeah, it's there's a lot of ways we're actually moving in these directions as well.
All right, very exciting news. Thank you so much once again. And I want to ask you one more question from the chat right now. Why did you prefer the ERC20 standards, and are you planning on bridging with other chains in the future?
Yeah, actually, we started on ERC20. We're now using the Binance chain. So we've actually switched completely into the Binance chain. So yeah, that's been a major change. And the reason for that is obviously Binance is slightly quicker, a little bit cheaper, and there's various other advantages that have come with moving on Binance. But yes, we'll redeploy on the ERC, probably looking at Poly. Um, there's actually a few other chains, but likely in the next 6 months, we'll increase the number of protocols we're using.
I see. And I think you've mentioned in the next, for example, 6 months or so, you were thinking of being listed on Binance as well. So, yeah,
Absolutely.
it's very exciting. And let's see now. What else? from chat. I'm looking at the questions, and some of them have already been answered, so I don't want to repeat ourselves. But one user is wondering, since the project is very much related to gold, in the future, what do you think the gold will be worth? Like, is it going to be? Is there any chance it will be decreasing?
So let me explain it this way. Since history, gold has been revered through millennia. Over the last 50, 60 years, gold started at a few dollars. It's now currently around $2,000. And I wouldn't say, gold is risen exponentially compared to some of the digital assets. Now you have to consider the rise of Ethereum, Bitcoin, and some of the altcoins and other investments, like whether you're buying Tesla or Google or Amazon. Now, what gold has provided is stability. And if you look at just the stability of the physical metal, that's the real USP or the real value of the product. Now, do I think the price of gold is going to go up in the future? Yes, I do. Um, if um, if you consider over the next few years, we will actually not have any more paper money in circulation, then probably there's a big likelihood all hard assets, and I'm not just saying gold, like I mentioned earlier, gold, silver, diamonds, watches, cars, all of these items that no longer can be exchanged for cash will ultimately benefit. And I think one of the biggest winners, because of its liquidity, will probably be gold.
I see. Thank you so much for that answer. And one more related thing that I want to add, since someone in chat asked it, does the value of the coin change with the price of gold? And yes, Mr. Nick has told us that it is going to be always equal to 1 gram of, I think, gold. Is that correct? Yeah.
That's
So
correct. So 1 gram is always one CGT. If the price of gold goes up, your CGT token is exactly pegged to 1 gram of gold.
yeah, very, very exciting, and it's very trustable. Thank you so much for that answer. And I want to ask maybe the last question that I have right now, unless I see any others. We've seen some NFTs information on your website. Can you talk us through about what they are going to do, what they are useful for?
So what we're actually doing is creating CBT, which is a Clinq bullion token. It will be an NFT-based token, which is fragmented or fractionalized. So you have the ability to own fractional amounts of gold as well. Now, obviously, you can buy it straight through a CGT, but the increments, increments, are only possible through the NFT versions. Now, one of the other things that, if you've realized in NFTs, payments through NFTs, now a lot of the payment mechanisms that you'd use to buy NFTs, you're going back, you're connecting your MetaMask or any other wallet, and then making transactions and making payments. But if you could use CBT, which is already an NFT, to make a payment, it'll not only make your life very easy, it's actually very secure as well. So you won't need to add additional wallets, etc. You can just use your Clinq tokens to make, or Clinq bullion token, to make payments on NFTs as well.
All right, thank you so much. And one last question from chat that I've just seen, kind of unrelated, but are you affiliated with any other companies, or do you have other co-workers that are affiliated with big companies that will be helpful to Clinq Gold in the future?
Yeah, I am actually the founder of Bank of Bullion, one of the biggest metal dealers, not only in Dubai but globally. But apart from that, if you go to our website, you'll see where the team comes from. All of them come from good stock. Whether it's tech, whether it's just in the actual industry that we're involved in. So yeah, you're more than welcome to check us all out. That'll be one of the exercises I would actually suggest you do.
All right. Thank you so much for all of your answers, Mr. Nick. It was amazing to have you here. I think that's going to be it for today. Hopefully, in the future, when Clinq Gold is at a much higher place, we will make this AMA once again. I'm very hopeful for that. And yeah, it was nice to meet you. Thank you for joining us.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time. Yeah, I look forward to speaking to you again, and look forward to our listing on the 13th of April on Bitmart.
Alright guys, 13th of April, make sure you're staying tuned for the website, and let me just display it to you guys, and I want to bid you farewell, Mr. Nick. Take care. Thank you so much
Thank
once
you.
again. Alright. So guys, here we have the main website of Clinq Gold. As we've mentioned, 13th of April or 14th, it is very soon. Please make sure to check out the just a second here. Please make sure to check out, guys, the socials as well. You can find them right here. Many more updates are coming in, and it's in a short amount of time, so you don't want to miss anything. Check out the link being shared in the chat. I appreciate your guys' presence. Thank you for joining in. It's good to see that you are so hyped. And yeah, thank you once again. I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Take care, and goodbye, guys.